Wells. Senator McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President, and I'd like to certainly commend Senator Hinge for bringing this MPI to the Senate, and certainly listening to speakers here this evening. They have most importantly raised the concerns around the care and protection of dugongs and sea turtles. What I wanted to share with the Senate, Madam Acting Deputy President, was talk about the cultural importance and the spiritual importance of dugong and sea turtle, in particular to the Yanyuwa people, of whom I belong, in the Gulf country. And we are known as Liantha Wiriara, which means our spiritual origins come from the sea country. So dugongs and sea turtles are very much what we are about. We have a dance called the Ngartiji, which means the mermaid dance and the dreaming. So those stories, in terms of the cultural significance and the spiritual significance, are integral to the way First Nations people live with the stories of country. But there is no room for the desecration, for the incredible cruelty that we've obviously seen at different stages over the years that take place. Those penalties that we know are there are what should happen. Clearly you break the law, then those penalties need to apply. The strength of the rangers, the First Nations rangers on our coastlines, in particular in Northern Australia, is absolutely outstanding, because they, and I've heard today speakers talk about, what is traditional, what is contemporary practices of First Nations people, and believe me, that is an ongoing conversation that takes place even within our own families across Australia as First Nations people. But the heart of the Yanyuwa, in terms of dugong and sea turtle, and I'd like to just share a couple of the language words that we use, because this is what helps us when we explain and describe the importance of cultural and spiritual linkages to these beautiful sea creatures. So Yarawiji talks about the dust, and the dust that is stirred up in the seagrass country. Yarawiji Arawa means the seagrass, the sea dust is there because of the dugong, as opposed to sea dust that might be brought up because of other issues to do with cyclones or the changes in tides. This is important, and the changes in tides, sediment disturbed by feeding dugong and sea turtle, is Maningji. So all of this is very much a part of our cultural understanding of who we are as First Nations people, as Yanyuwa, Liantha Wiriara. The use of canoes was very much right up to my mother. My mother sailed the seas in the canoes of the Yanyuwa. So it was very much a part of hunting for dugong and sea turtle with the use of canoes. I disagree with speakers when they say that you shouldn't use speedboats. I think we have to take this again into consideration around the use of that. If I refer again back to my own clan and kinship groups in the Gulf country, there is also a deep respect in how that hunting takes place. So if the use of speedboats means the slowing down, because people need the speedboats to get out to the island country, but when they know they're hunting for dugong, something else takes place, a deeper respect of how you're going to do it. What we use in the Gulf country is harpoons, because there is a real pride that comes with being a dugong hunter, and to do it properly, with the deepest of respect. The dugong hunter plays a significant role in terms of the kinship responsibility. So when a dugong hunter goes out and hunts a dugong, then brings that back to the land. When it brings them back to the land, the dugong is turned and faced towards the sea. So again, there is a blessing that goes with how that dugong has not only just been caught but is about to be killed to feed the clan and the family group that are gathered on any of the many islands in the Gulf country. It may be on West Island, it may be on North Island, it may be on Central Island and Vandalia Island and South West Island, Black Craggy and White Craggy, on Skull Island. So these are the islands that make up the Yanyuwa country where the dugong and sea turtles they live. We have a ranger group called Liantha Wiriara Sea Rangers, and who are incredibly proud of monitoring all that coastal area to care and protect the dugongs and sea turtles. But so much so too that they will come down hard on anyone, Indigenous or otherwise, who is doing the wrong thing, who is doing the wrong thing of exploiting the dugongs and sea turtles, but who is also doing the wrong thing in terms of the sale. And if there is a black market out there, they are the front line. It is significant that we have these First Nations rangers, and they must be enabled to be resourced far greater than what they are. And I do commend Senator Scullion with the work that he does with the rangers, but I know that this parliament can do so much more in terms of facing what we know is a growing concern, not just about the dugongs and sea turtles, but also about anyone who's trying to attempt to come into Australia, anyone who's doing anything illegal with other goods across the seas. These sea rangers are usually the first ones who will know about what's happening on their country, on the seas and on the land. The other thing in relation to the rangers is that in the Northern Territory there are 130 rangers who are employed on full-time and casual basis, and half of them work on protection programs. And certainly there's been recent promotional material developed in consultation with the NLC Rangers and the Northern Territory Department of Environment and Natural Resources around the responsible harvest of eggs. So in Borroloola there's been a long-term project of monitoring nesting rates. We have on West Island where they have the home of the flatback sea turtles, and it is part of a school program, a holiday program, to be able to take the kids back out on country and teach them again of Liantha Wiriara, the importance and the essence of being people who are strong from the sea but care about the sea country, the seabeds, and understand the meaning of all of those things, because again in Yanyuwa there is a relationship with all of it. Just as there is a relationship with the dugong hunter and the dugong, there is a relationship in regards to the seabeds and the sea country, whether the seabeds are in, where the grass seabeds are in the area of the islands, or are they out in the open sea further towards deeper water. So all of these things are taught as part of looking at the nesting programs of the flatback sea turtles out on West Island, and it is an incredible program again that the Sea Rangers are very proud of, and very proud of monitoring, but also very proud of sharing the knowledge. The other thing with the relationship, the spiritual relationship with the sea country, is that there is great sadness at even one death of a dugong. And if that dugong is there and has been cut to feed the family, there is sorrow with that. And that comes back to the religious and spiritual relationship to why dugongs are important, again, and I speak specifically for the Yanyuwa. And I share this because I think it might give a bit of insight as to the fact that people don't want to see, as I said, the desecration and the cruelty to any animals. And if that is occurring, then those penalties need to apply and they must be enforced. I do see that the other factors, and I note that Senator Scullion raised it, is the other things that do impact on our sea creatures, which is the fishing industry. The boats, the nets, the ghost nets, they have caused more harm to our sea turtles than any other area. And I thank you, Senator Hinch, for bringing this to the Senate.